she said, Lee, you played our song? I said, yeah. I said, they loved it. I was so excited. And she goes, Lee, that's our song for our first dance. You got to sing it for them after we dance to it first.
Hey friends, it's your girl, Emily Curl. Welcome back to my virtual studio. Today we're hanging out with the legend, country music star, Lee Brice. Lee, welcome.
Oh, what is up? How are you?
It's so good to see you again. I mean, and this time we're celebrating Valentine's Day. So it is a season of love. Lee, are you feeling the love?
I'm always feeling the love. I think that's what you got to do every day, not just Valentine's Day, but this is special.
Oh, that's a very good answer. Before we dive in, we're playing our love advice game today, but let's talk about Soul, your latest track that is so sexy, so fun, so sweet. Like, tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind this one.
Well, really it was just one that, I love to write. I love to write my songs, and, I do end up writing 95% of them. But sometimes I hear something, that's just great, or that fits me, or that just catches my attention. And, and there's been quite a few that I haven't written, like this one, like Soul, that, it was just the fact that I heard it, and like what you just said, it had this combination of when I heard it, had this combination of sexy and make you feel good and just all these things about it that just made me want to move. And at first the demo was really far out there. Like, it was like most people, they heard it, even I didn't at first. I was like, this isn't country, or this isn't me, but I was like, It just kept sticking in my head. And I thought, if I get in there, and I started picturing it, me singing it, and the production like I would do it, and it started to feel soulful and funky and cool. And I said, you know what, we got to try this. And we did, and it kind of came out magic. So I was like, it really was like a kind of a story of, we don't know what's going to happen with this. We feel it. We kind of went in going, we think we have an idea of how it's going to sound, but we weren't sure. So it was fun to kind of go in like blindly and going and just trusting and hoping, and then with a good surprise at the end going, you know what, this turned out magic.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of fun, the music video looks so fun to be there. It's hilarious. Tell me a little bit about being on set that day.
That's just it. There was not a whole lot of acting going on there. I mean, we literally were just having a ball. There was a reception and a party, and it just got wild. And that was the concept, and having everybody from every walk of life and everything, just everybody being in the same moment at the same time and having the same fun and connecting, with a song in a moment. And so the bottom line is, that was one of the easier video shoots I've ever had to do, because it was just like, okay, man, literally just go have fun, go get crazy. And it was not just me, it was like everybody in the place. Hey, y'all do something silly, do something crazy, put somebody on your shoulders. And so it really was. We had a party, and that's what it feels like, because that's what it was.
Was that any indication of what your actual wedding day to your wife, Sarah, was like?
Actually, there was a little, it was. We threw down a little bit, but that's how receptions are supposed to go. You're supposed to be celebrating, and we definitely celebrated at ours and had a ball. Fun. It was kind of fun being back at like the reception, and it was so funny too. The guy that we had come play the husband or the fiance or whatever, I looked at him I said, did we hire Billy Currington to be our guy? Because I was like, dude, you look just like Billy Currington.
Did you send Billy that video?
No, I haven't. I think I'm going to, dude, you got to check this out. Look at this guy.
Oh my God. Well, Lee, like I told you today, we're doing love advice. So we had fans submit in questions for both you and Sarah. Before we even dive into that though, tell me a little bit, how did you meet your wife, Sarah?
We were on a beach. We were in North Myrtle Beach, where end of the summer, I worked at this camp, this Christian camp. And so at the end of the summer, all of us staffers that worked at the camp would go on kind of a retreat together and kind of celebrate the end of the summer and the end of the year. And lo and behold, but it was kind of a rainy night, and it was like, so we were just really looking for nothing, because there was nothing. There was nobody on the beach except us. Out of nowhere, like this one person's walking towards us and couldn't really see her face. She had long hair kind of in her face. She had a big sweatshirt on. I was like, hey guys, if she turns around, I'm gonna go talk to her. And I looked over, and lo and behold, she turned around and looked back over her shoulder. I said, all right, I'm gone, boys. And so then about that time, I turned around, I started kind of walking to her. She was so awkward. She took a beeline and kind of sat down in the sand there by the ocean. I thought, okay, cool, this is awesome. So I walked off. I asked her, could I sit down? Long story short, once she pulled her hair back, moonlight hit her face, I was like, holy crap. I was like, this is what in the world? So she was just gorgeous. And I was like, I'm going to need some backup for this. So I had to I said, will you stay here? I need to go get something. And so I like haul tail down the beach, like a mile to my truck, and I go get my guitar. I'm like running back down the beach. She said, please still be there. Please still be there. Get back. She's sitting there. I sit down with my guitar and I'm like, thank the Lord she stayed. So then I proceeded I played her Wonderful Tonight, Eric Clapton. And then I played a few more songs, some of my stuff. And then I ended up just walking her back. I was like a 2-mile walk back to like wherever she was staying. And I just told her good night. And I did get her phone number. It was just crazy because I kept up with that number and then I remembered it in my head. But it's funny when we look back on the story because she'll tell it like, well, yeah, Lee, I turned around. I want to make sure y'all weren't coming to like attack me. You know, I'm walking down the beach by myself.
But you thought she was like giving you the eyes?
Right. And I'm like, well, why'd you sit down in the sand? She's like, because I wanted to sit down in the sand and look at the ocean. She's like, but I mean, it was fine. You walked up and like, so her version of this is so different. And then she'll say, and then you were like, can I go I'm gonna go get my guitar. And she was like, okay. And she's like, first of all, she's thinking, oh, this guy's probably gonna suck. I'm gonna have to sit here and like listen to this.
Listen to him.
Well, she stays. I come back. She says, and then I was just worried. I was like, is he gonna come back with an axe and like take, like? And I'm like, so. And then she's like, but then you started singing and like you were good. And I was just like, wow, this is cool. This is a sweet guy. And then she's like, and you walked me back. And you didn't even try to kiss me or anything like that. I said, well, I was just trying to like play it slow and play it cool and make you. She's like, well, and so her version of the whole meeting is a little different than mine.
But for you, it was like love at first sight. You were done. Going off Soul, of course, like your song and music video. Tara Blah wants to know, Lee, how do you know for sure that the person you're with is the one? For me, it's like this gut feeling. They like, just like they say, like you'll know when you know. Like it's just like with Sarah, it's kind of weird because truly I knew something special happened that night. Even though we just met, I sang some songs, and then like. I never stopped thinking about her, even though I didn't really ever talk to her until, I called her like maybe a few months later and like said hello. But then I talked to her a few times and we'd stay up on the phone, but it was just very random. It wasn't like, we were so far apart, she was in Ohio and I was in South Carolina. So it was just kind of like this thing, like that we stayed in touch kind of sort of a little bit. And then all this time went by and I hadn't talked to her forever. And I actually got on radio tour for the very first time, and her number stuck, it just popped out of my head one day, and I happened to be going up to Youngstown, Ohio for my radio tour, and that's where she was from, and I just remembered her number, and I called her, and it was just all these things kept naturally happening. It's like when you can't stop thinking about them or whenever they just get stuck in your head or they keep popping up in your life, it's like serendipity for me. It was like I never could get out of my head, and I'm glad, because it's just life has turned out kind of like a fairy tale, That's a perfect segue into our next question. Kyle Jonas asked, what was your first dance song at the wedding? Which is interesting for you, Lee, because I feel like a lot of people have your songs as their first dance song. So I'm curious what you did. That's why I wrote that song. I didn't write that song to put on the radio. I didn't write that song for anything else. I Don't Dance was really why I started writing and singing. When I was a kid, I just always imagined this beautiful little, brown-headed girl that I would make feel like a princess, and one day write her a song, and one day sing it to her at our wedding, and one day, and then like hopefully it was on the radio, and it would make her so proud, and like, I'm winning awards, and it was just that was like my fairy tale of like I wanted her to feel like a princess and do this. And so when we got engaged, I wrote a song for our first dance, and that's what I was writing it for, and it did come out special. In fact, it's kind of funny, I was so excited about the song and just over the moon about it. For her and for us, I was just on stage one night. This is before we got married, okay? I had played it for her. She knew the song and she loved it. It was all good. But I was on stage one night and I was so excited. I said, guys, I want to play you this thing I wrote, for my wife and for our first dance. But remember now, we hadn't had the first dance yet. But I wasn't thinking anything about that. I was just so excited to share it with the world, the song and her and the story. So I played I Don't Dance, acoustic, just me and my guitar. I get a phone call directly after the show, because it was like a huge show, like Madison Square Garden. She's like, Lee, what did you do? I said, I don't know. What did I do? And she said, Lee, you played our song? I said, yeah. I said, they loved it. I was so excited that she goes, Lee, she's like, that's our song for our first dance. You got to sing it for them after we dance to it first.
was like, oh crap.
You're like, my bad, okay, but they loved it.
I was like, they can't go dance to it. They don't have it. They're like, people record. Da, 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 da. I said, oh gosh, I'm sorry, babe. I will never play it again until after our first dance. So that was the last time I played it, until after we danced.
You obviously have found the one. You love Sarah. But our Sarah Osman asked how to get through a breakup with someone you were sure was the one.
That's a tough one. I mean, my biggest thing was my mama always told me growing up, I was kind of a hopeless romantic, and I was always, I'm writing love songs and this and that. But I had my moments with a couple of girls through my life that I was just head over heels for. I was the one always getting a heart broke because I was just always so in. My mama would sit down and go, Lee, if you trust, that God has not only a plan but a better plan. Imagine, Lee, how you felt about this girl. Imagine something better, like literally something. He has something that's you're even going to be more head over heels for, and it's going to be more real. I'm thinking, Mama, that's just not possible. And she's like, it is, and it's true. And so she was so right, and that helped me, get through my breakups. That I really thought this. I thought this was the girl. I thought this was the one. But knowing that and actually seeing it come true a couple of times really made me just a true believer in that, and just trusting that there's something else out there better. If that didn't work out, there's a reason for it.
Yeah, and on that same note, Tia wants to know if you've ever been in a situation like this, Lee. She said, how do you move on from someone who just wants to be friends? Because I think we've all been in that situation where you have a close friend and you're like, are you feeling this? Are you feeling this? And unrequited love, I feel like, is the worst pain ever.
Actually, that was one of the girls that I was best friends with this one girl for all through high school and all through college. And I actually was way into her, but she kind of put me, I ended up in the friend zone immediately. Like when we first met freshman year of high school. We talked about it, and I'd get her like a locket for Valentine's Day or something like that, and I was there for her. I'm the one that she'd call in the middle of the night when her mean boyfriends would do stupid stuff. And I'm that guy. I'm that guy for years. And she did, tell me, she's like, Lee, you're the kind of guy I want to end up with. I want to marry. You're and I'm thinking, okay, so what's the problem here? After college and which actually did end up happening after college. We ended up dating for about a year, but she had actually been kind of so broken through these kind of bad dudes that she dated for all those years, that I was there for her through. That year of us dating, I think looking back on it, was more of me kind of bringing her back to herself. The girl that I'm and I knew who she was, and actually that story really is the video and the whole story behind the song Memory I Don't Mess With. That's totally her. That whole video, that truck, that whole deal, that was her.
Wow, I did not know that backstory.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a few more questions for you. Beck Christensen wants to know, how do you keep the flame going?
I mean, well, right now it's tough. We got 3 kids running around. I'm on the road. I'm back home. She's washing clothes and dishes and schools and trying to figure out. We just moved houses. We're in the middle of, I built a studio. I'm producing stuff and she's writing songs. It's just a wild time. And I think anybody who's got kids at kind of these ages and at this time in life, it's one of probably the hardest times to connect and stay connected. And we're not even in the phase of trying to spice it up. We're just trying to connect at all. So, but I think it's a normal part of life. And, I'm sure we'll look back on it one day and go, man, we'd love to have those crazy days back. Like we do truly make, schedule in, and it kind of, you hate to say it like that, but schedule in time, whether it's just a date night, if it's been a few weeks and we haven't had any time together, make it happen.
And now today is Valentine's Day. So do you guys like to celebrate the holiday? Do you have any fun plans for tonight?
Yeah. We always do. I've always been the romantic kind of type. I love to woo them. It's kind of hard with Sarah though, because she's she's funny because she's allergic to everything and all this kind of stuff. So it's I'd come home with flowers and stuff and she's chewing all over the place and I'm going, okay, that didn't work out. So I had to be creative and again, it gets harder and harder over the years because you want to try to up your game, from like the last time. We'll definitely it'll be just us trying to make some time together.
And now, do you still write songs? Like, is that something for Valentine's Day? Do you write some like little jingles for?
There's a song on this record that's out right now. It's called No Reason. And it was kind of inspired by like Valentine's Day, but it was kind of the opposite of that. It goes like, and it's not your birthday. It's not our anniversary. It's not, February 14th, but I don't need no reason, to dance you around this floor, to tell you I love you more than any man's ever loved any woman, every single day of the year. Yeah, that's the last time I incorporated like Valentine's Day literally into a song.
Well, M. Bevery asked, what could possibly be more romantic than getting engaged with Lee playing I Don't Dance? A, nothing. In parentheses, thanks again, brother.
Yes! What did that happen? Who was that again? What was their name?
I think so. In Beverly. I think maybe that happened.
Well, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Does that happen to you often?
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of people talk about it being their first dance, or I haven't heard a lot of I've gotten engaged to it. But one time, somebody asked me to, during meet and greet, could I like be there and sing that song while he actually got down on his knee right there at meet and greet and surprised her with all this. And so I did do that.
Is it in Beverly?
Maybe it is. Maybe that's what it was.
The misconnection, we found it. And they actually got engaged?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Lee.
That's one of the other parts of this job, this job that I do, it's hard. There's a lot of sacrifices. We work hard, but, we do it because of a lot of reasons. And one of them being, I love to sing. I love to get up and do what I do for fans and for myself. But I also love these stories. I love these moments and these kind of things that are like physical and actual tangible parts and pieces and moments in other people's lives that, you're a part of now. It's like, it makes you feel good.
Okay, we have one last question for you. Noonie asked, what is your favorite home dessert for Valentine's Day?
Ooh, my favorite home dessert. For lack of better words, I would say Sarah. If I could just kiss her lips, that would be dessert for me. But if we're gonna do dessert, I mean, I'm a chocolate man. I think chocolate really goes well with Valentine's Day for whatever reason. But I'm a little more like a chocolate cake kind of guy, So if I was going to have a Valentine's dessert, I'd say just straight up chocolate cake. If it happened to be warm and if there happened to be some vanilla ice cream or something on the side, I'm cool. I'm cool with that too. Maybe a little cherry.
Yes. Okay, well, Lee, I hope you get that tonight, okay?
Okay.
But again, thank you so much for being here, Lee. It's always so great to chat with you and for playing our Love Advice. Tell Sarah that we said thank you as well for sharing all the stories here, too.
Absolutely, I will.
Thanks so much for watching our Love Advice segment with Lee Brice. Make sure you stream his new song, Soul, out now on iHeartCountry, and happy Valentine's Day.